The Red Rope Diaries by Jack Vandenberg. This is an account of my adventures of having been used as a sex toy. My adventures all begin with a simple red rope. This is a true account of my adventures, and as best as my memory serves, these are all true and factual. "Hey, come on now, baby." "There's no time for that," I said, looking at the picnic basket. "We aren't going to be eating much, just lots and lots of outdoor fucking." She glared at me. Her eyes did not betray anything, but her smile did. I gulped. The intention was clear. There was something devilishly wicked in that basket, and I could not wait to find out what it was. I knew her kinkiness and wanted to find out more about what she had in store for me, so I began to ask her general questions. "Okay, so it is not food. Is it an object or objects?" I began, with a smirk of my own. "Correct, not food at all. Just some items I got at the store," she said, her voice honey. "Items," I said wistfully. "Okay. What sort of a store was it then? That will give me a clue," I asked slowly. "It was a general store. Nothing special about it. Just your everyday items that have been purchased for today's, exercise, shall we say," Lorraine said coyly, looking at me. "Okay, so you are going to be obtuse. Well, then I suppose I will just have to go along with whatever you are planning," I said, a dour look on my face. "You are indeed going to have to wait, my darling man. You are just going to have to wait and see what I have in store for you," she smirked, smacked her ass, and walked out of the kitchen, me trailing behind her. We climbed into the Jeep, and it started up with a healthy roar. The juicy V8 was primed and ready to go. This was always the best way to experience our adventures. They always began in the driveway. I reversed out onto the road, put it into gear, and accelerated down the street. I waited for her directions, as she had been out and about the last few days looking for our spot to have our playtime, as we called it. I always let her choose the location, not because she was more dominant, but because she enjoyed dreaming up scenarios that I would later use in my books. You see, I am an author. And this is how I would get my inspiration. My muse is my wife, the love of my life. We drove up into the hills, far from our usual places, not somewhere I had been before, and was slowly realizing that this was going to be something completely different. The basket was on her lap the whole time, clasped firmly in her hands, holding the lid down. Her directions were pretty good, and soon I found the path she needed to go on. It was an old logging road, rough and overgrown, but still passable with the right vehicle. Our vehicle. I smiled again at the wisdom of the Jeep. "This was a good buy then, darling, don't you think? The Jeep, I mean. It has all the power and ground clearance we need to get up over this path," I mused aloud, enjoying the subtle growl of the engine as we scrambled up along the path. "All in all, it is perfect, indeed perfect for where we are going, Paul. Just you wait and see," she glanced sideways at me. Finally, she said stop, as we reached the clearing in the forest. I looked around as we parked up, noting just the one old crooked oak tree in the center of the clearing. It looked decidedly old, with a few branches lying on the ground scattered around the base of the tree. I nodded and peeked at her sideways, wondering what she was up to. "Come on, out you get, mister. I have your surprise waiting for you. But there is a condition." "You need to be tied up," she ordered, her voice hard, unlike I had ever heard her before. I looked at her strangely, shrugged, and climbed out of the Jeep. "Okay, so this is, different. This is not what I was expecting," I said to my wife as she climbed out after me and ordered me to strip. I obeyed her and could immediately feel myself harden, my cock swelling in the cool, fresh morning air. She licked her lips and smiled devilishly at me, her eyes twinkling. I stood there, my hard-on waving in the air, as she studied me, walking around me and commenting softly. I was not bad looking for 38, with a bit of flab, but not a huge amount. She grabbed my cock and squeezed, then pulled me over to the tree with her hand still wrapped around my member. I gasped in surprise at her grip on me. This I had not been expecting. Now lean back against the bark. Legs spread, dear. I need to get the rope ready, she said to me. First, though, I can't have you peeking at what I'm doing, so I'm going to take my shirt off and use it as a blindfold and cover your eyes. I nodded, and my cock bobbed as well, almost mimicking my action. I watched as she pulled the shirt out of her jeans and pulled it over her head. Those gorgeous tits were freed and swayed softly with the movement of her arms. She approached me and wrapped the shirt around my head, completely blocking my eyes so nothing could be seen. I leaned back and she then whispered one word, relax. My cock throbbed, wondering what next, knowing that this was about to become a bit more interesting. My legs were bent so my arse was near the roots of the tree. She reached back for the basket, took out the rope and started looping it around the tree and my torso. I could feel the rope binding tight. Then she surprised me by taking my hands and tying them behind the tree on the sides, making sure I could not move. My legs came next. Realizing that I was stuck in this position, then she threaded the rope between my legs and pulled it tighter, making my cock harder by the pressure of the rope. I heard rustling and she said something to someone. I did not know who. There, he is all yours. Have some fun, she said softly and giggled. The kisses began, all over my body, softly and tenderly, and gradually getting more passionate. I could not do anything, just had to enjoy the moment, my rampant cock being neglected, until I felt a hand descend on it slowly and move up and down on it. The strokes were soft, more tender than my wife's. Then I realized what she must have planned. She had possibly planned an event with multiple women to let them have their way with me. I grinned, knowing that this was indeed going to be an event. Next, a mouth descended on the tip of my cock, while the kisses continued all over my body, and I groaned. There was no lovelier feeling than the mouth on that tip of my cock. I knew it was not my wife's by the hair that flowed down around the head that was slowly licking and savouring me. My wife had short hair. The hair that was tickling me was long and very sensuous. My throat constricted as I felt the tongue dart out and lick me hard, the other hand still stroking. God, this is amazing, I whispered. Then I felt the mouth disappear and I groaned. But next, something else replaced it. A delicious, ripe pussy. It settled on me and I slowly let me sink inside it, slowly absorbing me. Fuck, I whispered, realizing this was not my wife either. Then I felt the body start to ride me, and I heard a soft moan from the woman, and she slid gracefully up and down my cock, riding me. I wanted to buck, push myself harder into her, but I could not, being tied down. There were a few more strokes, then with a soft sigh she lifted off me. Another pulsing pussy enveloped me and slowly started again, moving up and down on me. I was being fucked by multiple women, I realized. Fuck, I can't see a damn thing, I exclaimed. Then heard my wife next to me whispering in my ear. Just enjoy, baby. This is something you will just have to endure. I promised you a treat that you would never forget. Groaning, I felt the next pussy descend on my cock, but this time I could feel her leaning forward, and the long hair brushing my chest as she rode my cock, stroking her clit at the same time. I felt a rush of warm liquid on my cock. As I realized what had happened, she had squirted all over me. Fuck, I thought. Can this get any better? Then finally, after a few more different pussies had been stroked by my cock, I could feel a very familiar tingling in my balls. Even though there were interruptions, I could still feel my balls pulsating, nearly ready to come. Finally, my wife said, "My turn, ladies. He is, after all, my husband, and I want his cock in me when he comes." With that, she climbed on my cock, sank her pussy onto it, and started rocking her hips. The rest of the woman carried on stroking and kissing my torso, and I could also hear her moaning as my wife was being kissed by one of them. My brain was on fire. My cock was pulsing. My balls were clenching. Finally, I could hold back no longer, and my cock spurted deep inside her, bursting with pure abandon. I groaned and thrashed my head from side to side, feeling my wife slide up and down on me. Finally, she bucked her hips and ground down on me, then slowly slipped off. "Ladies, he is yours. Lick him clean, please. I like him the way he came here, sparkling clean." The next half hour I was in a daze. The delicious licking and slurping sounds soon crowded my senses, and I managed to come again just from the tongues and mouths sucking and licking. That was when I passed out. I awoke later at home. No tree, no rope, no idea. What a fuck of an adventure. My wife sat opposite me as she stared down at my pants, looking at the cock that was slowly growing there. Fuck was all I could say as she pulled out the red rope.